That's so fucking.
What happens if I do this?
Yes.
Does anything change?
Yeah.
It's back in the middle now.
No, it's,
But now I can't see my sound meter
and now
anymore.
it's back to where it was.
I can't see my sound meter.
Which is weird because I can see both of your sound meters, but now I can't see my own.
Stop it.
What about now?
Nothing.
Still in the
Nothing.
middle.
Nothing.
It's not different.
Nothing.
This is the most captivating
Still
content
in the
we've ever
middle.
produced.
What about now?
I think people are really enjoying this.
Oh, mate.
They're
I'll be
sitting there
tuning
like
in if I was-
smiling and nodding.
I'll be
Like, yeah, I know
tuning in.
exactly what they're talking about. Dear audience, we're very sorry for our shitness today.
Are we on? Are we live or no?
I don't know.
Yeah, mate.
Okay.
So we better start talking. Good talk.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you were. It was quality, actually.
I love getting
I
an
enjoyed
approval
it.
from
So
Jordan.
good,
It makes me
so
feel
good.
really good.
All right. Are we
Okay,
ready?
let's
Are we
go.
ready? Okay, cool.
3018.
So,
my spot.
welcome to the Good Talkers podcast. We haven't been here for a little while. We're very excited to be recording some more episodes. It's so great. We haven't been doing episodes because we've all been very busy doing very fucking cool things. So, over the next few episodes, we might touch on what some of those really super cool things are and kind of share a few bits and pieces. Today, we are talking about 2025 goals and expectations. Right, which I think is a really cool subject. But it's October. It's the end of the year. This is when people start thinking. Well, it's November actually. Sorry, it's not October at all. See, I'm not even keeping up. It's like the middle of November almost, and so we're all thinking about what next year's going to be like. You know what the next couple of months are like. Everyone's like, oh, kick off 2025 with whatever it is that your heart desires. So we figured we would talk about goals and expectations. Just jump on that bandwagon.
Honestly,
Tess is
the fact, that you're,
thrilled.
the fact that you're like, it's nearly 2025, the ick factor and like the recoil I had to that was quite
I
visceral.
literally can't believe it's the end of the year. But when I think about the year, I'm like, oh yeah, lots has happened. Like there's definitely been a year's worth of stuff. But I was thinking about Christmas, last Christmas the other day, like it only just happened and it's about to happen again. It's blowing my mind.
Yeah. I have no conception of like time over the last year. To me, the year, I don't understand how long it's been. I can't quite figure it out. It's weird.
Yeah. Anyone else having
Yeah, cool.
weird?
That landed
anyone
well
else
with
having
everybody.
weird this time of year experiences?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, 100%. It's literally November. That's insane, and like I feel like the thing is that I'm the same with you. Like it feels like Christmas just happened, but then I can also think of other projects and things that I've worked on, like in the beginning of the year, and it feels like forever since those things have happened. You know what I mean? So yeah, time is
wonky.
It's
And weird.
It is. And I feel like it gets weirder and wonkier the older you get.
Oh my freaking god.
You know, like when I
Agreed.
was younger.
Agreed.
Yeah, when I was younger, time felt very
Reliable,
it
linear.
felt very reliable, linear. And now time feels very strange. Like my concept of time as I get older is maybe just widening, and that's why it feels stranger. Yeah.
I think I just have more emotions. And they
Oh,
make
this
things
year?
feel more or less.
It was the year of the emotions.
Yeah. It's been an
Tess is like,
emotional
now I'm just numb. I feel nothing.
There's nothing. Time doesn't exist. Pretty sure parallel universe. Also pretty sure simulation. So who knows?
Matrix.
I'm really not
Anyway,
sure.
moving on. So, before we disappear too far down that particular path, which sounds like it's going to be fun, but I can see Jordan already going, no, girls, no. So,
Stop it.
I should have blown. If I had the horn, I would have blown it like 2 minutes ago. I just didn't bring it in, so
right, I
I'm
think
going to go
that's a
looking
really
for
good
it in
idea.
between
Really good
episodes.
idea.
It needed
now,
an
before
appearance.
we kick off,
Definitely needed
Ashton,
an appearance.
I've already forgotten what it was that you wanted to talk about, but I know that there was something that you wanted to have a conversation about before we kick off today. What was it?
I have a bone to pick
fun.
with one of our listeners.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm not sure the name of the
That's
listener.
right.
Beautiful.
I forgot.
But we had a comment on one of our social medias. And I'm not
I
sure
remember
who
the
it
wording,
was.
if it's helpful.
You don't have to bring it up. You know who you are. You know what you did. Because here's the thing. We did a sound I can't make a while back. And we were talking about the Californian accent. And the comment, do you have it, Tess?
I do, because I screenshot it and sent it into our group chat.
That's right. Would you like to say the quote from this,
Yes, I would.
this person?
I would. So what it was a video, Good Talkers podcast, and then it had, can you do the Californian accent, ? With a little love heart face, because, I posted it, so that's what I do. And this person underneath said, respectfully, no one nailed it.
Which is very funny. Mostly because,
It is very funny.
Ashton, where do
Well,
you live?
I've literally lived in California my whole life. Born here, raised here. If anybody has a Californian accent, it is this, my friend. I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. I am a Californian through and through. This is what we sound like. Now, here's the thing. I think, respectfully, person, you may have heard Saturday Night Live's version of a Californian. And I just want to let you know, again, going to hold your hand when I tell you this, that is satire. It's not real. So a lot of people think we do sound like that. We might sound like this, like
Can you, do the
you
SNL.
better take the 101 to the 405. It's Stuart. What are you doing? Like that's what they might think that a Californian sounds like. That's not. That's satire.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
I do have some like surfer friends because, like I said, I am very Californian, and they do have quite a Californian accent. And the only discernible accent I can think of that we as Californians have, and I've tested this theory because Tessa brought it up to me once, and I've tested it with all my friends. Tessa, you asked me, how do I say the formation
Yes.
of something that is bigger than a hill? And I said, a mountain?
Yeah, 100%.
Because we don't say our T's in the middle of words. Mountain. And I
have a
tested it
mountain.
on my friends, and they all say the
Mountain.
same thing. I have a friend who lives in Santa Ana. I asked her, hey, Kelly, where is it that you live? And she goes, Santa Ana. That's a Californian accent.
Yeah.
Californian accent. Whereas in New Zealand, we definitely still have mountains.
Oh, mountains in Australia.
Like you might get the odd one that's like mountain. No, I
Mountain.
wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. Mountain.
Mountain.
I'm going up the mountain.
We might
Or
say
maybe
mountain in Australia.
Colloquially, very casually, maybe, but more often than not, I'd say. And it's definitely more frequent, like a T's in the middle of words, yeah.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't
anyways,
say Santa
that's the
Ana.
Californian accent.
Definitely. The T
Santa Ana?
is in Santa
Santa
Ana.
Ana,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
It's like Santa's new name is Anna. Santa Ana.
not for people who live in Santa Ana. They say Santa Ana.
Man.
I love that.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I just thought that I really thought that comment was actually very
I
comical.
think so too.
Yeah.
Just
So did I.
because it made me question for a second. Like, wait, hold on. Do I am I losing like my native tongue, like my native accent? Am I losing it because I've done so many other things now? But no,
You definitely
I think
are
I'm
not.
still okay. I think, I think I'm all
I
right.
think we
so.
can just we can happily hang the Californian accent around your neck. You get to have that for sure. 100%.
Thank you.
I
appreciate
Oh,
that.
of course. I just realized I haven't introduced anyone. I'm just like, we're here, right? So I'm Deanna. I'm your host today. Sitting in the Good Talkers podcast chairs with me is Tessa Livingston. Say hi, Tess.
Hello.
And Ashton Haugen, who we just heard from. She lives in
Hello.
California.
I do.
But she doesn't sound like one.
And our epic
Fuck's
producer,
sake.
Jordan Greville. Hello, Jordan.
Hey guys,
You're
I was
going to
gonna
have
blow
to
the
do
horn, but I
something
didn't
else
bring it.
that is a bit horn blowing sound. What are you going to do for today's episode? What are you going to do?
Whoa. Well, I'm looking
What
around
about
the
it?
office.
No,
There's
what
not
about
a
the
lot.
doorstop you had in
No.
your hand?
Like yell?
Doorstop.
Yeah, yep, got the door stop. Dog was trying to chew that. Doesn't make any noise though. See that? It's been
You
chewed.
can't- unless you're watching
No,
us,
you
then you
can't
can.
see it. That was really bad. That was a really bad showing
Make a
of
dog
the chewing.
noise, maybe? I
Sorry
don't know.
about that.
Work it out. You'll work it out. But
Um,
we need something. And the people want to hear from you, Jordan.
I've got nothing.
Someone contacted me the other day and said, really loving your podcast. Why don't we hear more from Jordan? Which I think is just delightful.
I'm getting the same comments. People want to hear from me.
I'll try.
The people,
People
have
have
spoken.
spoken, Jordan.
Yeah.
People have
Okay. They have. No pressure.
Well, today's a good.
Now that
we're
we
all
said
sick.
it, yeah.
The
Today's
other
a good
ones.
one for you to weigh in on a bit, Jordan, because this is goal setting, right? Like, okay, like,
I like what you
well,
did there. Oh,
well,
yeah,
you
Jordan will have
Everyone
some
does,
goals.
right?
Perfect.
We all have
Yeah,
goals, and we
well,
all have
fuck.
different ways of setting them. You know, sometimes we don't. Like, but even not setting goals is kind of a goal setting approach in some ways, right? So today we're going to talk about this kind of stuff, right? We figure it's never too early to start setting goals for yourself, but like if you want next year to go the way you want it to go, it's a good idea to have a bit of a plan. Like, this is my perspective on goals, right? So goals are different to resolutions, though. You know, like everyone gets to the end of the year and starts thinking about the resolutions they're going to set for their new year, and they set their resolutions, and then in February it all just disappears again, right? Goals are different, right? And so let's talk about what the difference is between goals and resolutions, right?
I feel like a resolution is an outcome and a goal is. Oh,
That went
goal is also an outcome.
I feel like a resolution is more of like your hopes. Like, I hope to do this. Maybe goal setting is like, no, I'm going to do this.
Well,
You know, that's what I think
the
of.
word resolution comes from resolve, right? Like the root word in resolution is resolve. And when you resolve to do something, you make a decision. You make a choice, right? And a decision and a choice is excellent. And then you need to carry that thing out. And that's what goal setting and planning does for you, right? A goal can be a resolution. You can be like, oh, I resolve to be fitter next year, right? So the goal is to be fitter. But a goal without a plan is just a fucking dream.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So you can have
I think that's what I was attempting
right.
to get
You
to.
can
and
have all the
didn't quite get
resolutions
there.
and ideas and goal and dreams and goals and stuff in the world, right? But without setting some structure around them, they might happen, but it'd probably be a bit of an accident. And, you know, I think a lot of people think of that as like, oh, I manifested it. But actually, you just didn't really make a proper plan. It just accidentally happened to you.
Do you know what I heard about goals and like resolutions and things like that is that people who make goals the couple of weeks before Christmas and the few weeks after Christmas have like a 90% fail rate.
Yeah.
But the people who make them in like November and in February have a way higher success rate because of the times of year that they made them. Because often people make them because of all of like the flurry of like Christmas, New Year, this, blah, 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 all of those things. And then they don't work because they're made with the wrong intention. Whereas people who make them prior to those events are more likely to be serious about them and not be wrapped up in the everybody's making goals and it's a new year
The
and I have to be better.
hype, shame-driven.
The hype,
like,
hype.
oh, God,
Yeah.
I'll be a bad person
Yeah.
if I don't engage in this like cultural phenomenon kind of rubbish.
Yeah, if I don't have a summer bod by whatever time your summer is, life is
I
ruined.
reckon goals that are based in shame just don't work anyway.
Oh, they
and
don't
they
work.
don't
Oh,
stick
no.
either,
fail.
right? Even if you manage to get to the end point, the outcome through shaming yourself to get there, right? It won't stay. You have to keep shaming yourself forever, and that sucks. That's a shitty way, I think, to like make plans.
Yeah, I don't think that I totally agree. Like, I don't think that shame works for a goal, but I also think changing your expectations mid-year, like say you have a goal and your expectations change, I think that's
Oh,
okay. So
100%.
like last year, for example, one of my goals that I set for myself last year was that I wanted to start retaking tap dancing. I really loved it when I was younger, and like I was like, okay, I'm going to take a tap class. Now, the year has gone by and that has not happened. However, I did start taking burlesque dance classes. And
Stop it.
I very much
I
enjoy
bet you
that.
do.
And so like the expectation has changed a little bit, but I'm so glad like I went out and I got into a dance class. Like that was the goal that I wanted. It's not tap, but it is a different kind of dance, and so I am excited to continue with that goal.
That's so. I videos or it didn't happen. And
Absolutely not. I didn't say I was good. I said I'm having fun.
I love that. But
This would be the moment for me to be like, I found a video of Ashton. Here we go. And I'm just going to play it while we're live on YouTube. Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be good. But I dropped the ball.
videos or it didn't happen. But also I love that changing your expectations, but also changing your mindset with them. So I have this this app called Couch to 10K.
Yes.
You might have heard of the Couch to 10K, right?
It's
So
a running app.
It's a running app. Running app. I like running. I've always liked running, but here's the thing. I have started and stopped that app probably about 15 times and never ever got to the end of it, because always my goal was, once I get to the end, I'll be good.
Yeah.
I'll be perfect. Once I get to the end, I won't have to do it again. But I've started it again because I've just recently decided that I would like to start doing that again, and it's been enjoyable. And I've found it so much easier this time because the goal isn't to finish and then be done. The goal is to just move every day. And so the expectation on finishing it no longer exists. I'm pretty sure I'm only going to get to because there's like 14 weeks in it. I only really want to get to week 7 or 8 because I don't want to run for longer than like 25 minutes in a go. Fuck that. I'm not keen. I don't want to. So my mindset about it has changed completely. And now getting up in the morning to do it doesn't feel like an anxious driven, shame driven, like you must get up and do it. It's like it's moving day.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And look, I personally think for me, one of the underpinning, one of the underpinning kind of elements of goal setting has to be agility and the willingness to shift and change. Because very, very often we have an idea about where we want to go and what we want to achieve. And on the way there, we realize actually it's going to be something a little bit different to this. And if we're rigidly attached to an outcome rather than the process of becoming the next version of ourselves, then we get stuck and it blocks us. Because you actually don't know what's coming in the future. You don't know what opportunities are going to arise. You don't know who you're going to be through the process. You don't know what changes are going to happen to you. You can make some projections, but then having that flexibility inside the goal planning and executing process is really, really important. This is why reflect and refine absolutely needs to be a part of implementation when you're like trying to achieve things. If you don't build that in, you cut off your ability to assess where you're at and how it's working for you and shift like you did, Ashton, Yeah.
I really like that you said the reflect and refine part because I also think a lot about like SMART goal setting. People know what this is and you talk about it. It's a really good tool. However, at the end of it, there's nothing more after you set the goal. And so like reflecting on your goal, refining it, changing your expectations also should be a part of that goal setting. And I think that people don't understand that as much. And they don't practice it. Like I know myself, like I don't practice it as much, maybe once, twice a year, like when we reflect on these goals, but that shouldn't be the case. You know what I mean? Like weekly, monthly, I should be looking at like, hey, what did I want to do this week? What did I want to do this month? What went right? What went wrong? What do I want to change?
And that's it, right?
Yeah,
and it's not just what went right, what went wrong, what do I want to change? It's also what happened that I didn't plan for. What showed up that I didn't factor in, but that when I engaged with it, it actually forwarded me and pointed me in the right direction anyway, because that's what happens. And doing that weekly is really, really beneficial. Like once a week, if you look back at your week and go, what did I plan on doing this week? I planned on doing this and this and this and this, okay? Which of those things did I do? Oh, I did that and that and that. What did I not do? I didn't do that and that and that, okay? Why didn't I do those? Well, maybe I didn't have time, or maybe I don't have the resources yet. And then you get to kind of go, oh, well, maybe you get to assess how you plan and whether the way you plan is appropriate and make adjustments to that. And then you also get to look at what showed up that I wasn't aware of or that I wasn't thinking of, and how did I engage with that? Do I want to do that again next week? Do I want to pursue more of those kind of opportunities? And it becomes this really fluid, flow-based kind of process that really takes you out of shaming yourself for not hitting targets, and also for only congratulating yourself when you do the things that you said that you'd do. Because there's going to be things that you did that you want to celebrate, and there's going to be things that you didn't do that actually maybe you shouldn't have done anyway. Maybe they don't even belong in your plan.
Right. Yeah, just because you made a plan and something happened, or things happened and you didn't finish the goal, doesn't mean it's like a character fault. And I feel like that's where people get tripped up, is they think that like, oh, it must be me. There's something wrong with me that I didn't complete this. When in fact, maybe you're just learning more about yourself. Okay, maybe this wasn't the right goal for me. Maybe I need this more time, or I need to change this up to figure out how I can actually be successful.
I think the thing around it as well is just like understanding that, oh my God, my whole sentence just went out of my head. as I started talking, I
What
was like,
was I even
what the
gonna
fuck
say?
was I going to say?
You're like
What was I
looking
even
around
gonna
for
say?
it, like it's somewhere
Yeah,
in
it
the
was.
room.
I was like, oh my God, it was really good too. I was feeling really proud of myself about it, and it just went. Oh, expectations around, like, because I'm a perfectionism all or nothing, like that's been a thing that's been really habit built in for me. And what I've learned to adjust with that just recently is the size of the goal, because then and letting go of the expectation that if I didn't do the most fullest version of my action step of that goal, then it's a complete failure and I won't do it. So I like finding a goal and then finding the smallest version of it so that is high. And then normally what happens is that because of the way that I am, I do the really small part of the goal and I do like 40% of it anyway, like in one sitting. I'm like, yeah, sweet, done. It's like with work sort of goals. Obviously with fitness and that sort of thing, it takes longer and you can't do 40% of a goal in one go. It doesn't work. But for like other things, if I just write the title of this person's email rather than write the body of the email, I'll just write the subject line. And then normally what happens is that once I've written the subject line, I'm like, oh, I feel okay to write the rest now, and I just go for it. But the smaller version is really helpful.
So, question: how do all of you wonderful people, you Tessa and Jordan and Deanna, how do you not lose motivation once you start that goal? So, like Tessa, you said there is, I break it up into the tiniest chunks. So, like, I have ADHD and I need the dopamine. So, how do I constantly reward myself when I have to do that? Like, do you have suggestions?
I actually don't for this because
Great. What about you, Deanna? No, I'm just kidding.
Shut up, Tess.
If you don't have anything helpful to say, fuck off.
I'm sorry. I really
Why did you put your
Let
hand
me
up?
answer this.
Seriously.
I have nothing.
Ashton's like, I've got a question. Yeah, Ashton's got a question. Tessa's like, yeah, man, I've got the answer. I've got no answer. Anyone else?
Changed. It was like specific, like, because you started talking about willpower and then you related it to ADHD, and I was like, oh, I don't have the answer for that, but I do have a comment on willpower, or like not willpower, motivation.
Okay, I'm here for it.
Okay, thank you. Fuck off, everybody else. So my thought on willpower and motivation is that they are not good things to lean on, and that consistency
Discipline.
is actually more valuable than waiting for motivation or inspiration, because those things are sporadic and you can't conjure them up. Whereas with consistency on small things, you can do that. So for me, I'm working on consistency. So that's my answer. Thanks
You
very
actually
much.
can conjure motivation. Motivation follows
Can
action.
you? I struggle with that.
Motivation follows action.
Oh, well then yes.
100% of the time.
Oh.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you'll get it feels like a hit of motivation. It's not. It's been
Yes.
inspired by something. Something has inspired
Yes, and that's
that
what I was
motivation. Because
referring to, yeah.
motivation is what dopamine creates. And we get to have dopamine when we take action. So the trick is to do something. Like Tessa said, something tiny. Just do the first tiny little bit, right? Like if it's keeping your room clean, okay, and you've got a mountain of shit in front of you and it's been forever since you tackled it, just pick one small thing. Pick up a sock. Do a sock. Put it in there. Grab a sock, go find its pair. Pair those two socks up. You'll get a dopamine hit from like, I found the other sock, and then put it in the drawer. You'll get a dopamine hit from the sock going in the drawer. Then do another thing and another thing until you don't want to anymore, or you run out of time, or you've got to move on to the next task, right? But like work with your system, and your system doesn't generate motivation out of fucking nowhere, out of a void, ever. That's not how brains and bodies work.
It's really, that's really smart. I really love that.
Yeah, I actually my cousin has ADHD, and something that she's described to me just recently is that she doesn't get dopamine from completing a task. That's something that happens a lot inside the ADHD community. And so actually I do have some advice from when I previously said I didn't. I do. Okay. Honestly. I feel like it's earned, and I will keep my sass. Thank you very much. It's called a dopamine. Have you heard of this before?
No.
Dopamine. So basically, you have a menu of small dopamine hits, medium dopamine hits, and large dopamine hits that associate to each task. So if it's like, I need to do 30 minutes of work, I'm going to do 30 minutes of work, and I'm going to get an appetizer dopamine hit from my dopamine. And that might be 10 minutes of TikTok. Or it might be, so it's like it's baby reward system. So if you like have a big thing you need to do, like tidy the junk room or tidy, like whatever it is, a larger task, your dopamine menu thing might be from your mains because you did a bigger task, and it might be watch a film. Whatever your
That's
dopamine
good.
things are. Yeah, so
That's good,
dopamine
yeah.
menus.
Because I can't even do, like, it's really difficult for me to do a task
Yeah.
without adding in something I know I'm going to
Yeah.
enjoy. Like, for example,
Yes.
if I have to clean, like, I better be having music I really like or a really good audiobook because, or else I won't do it. I have to have something that I like to do something
Yes.
that I don't
Mm.
like.
Yes, because I get really big dopamine hits from task achieving.
Yeah.
And but that's not the same for all neurodivergent ADHD.
I suspect there's probably
brain
like
types.
variations, enormous variations
Yes.
amongst the neurodiverse like brain space, right? Because I don't always get a dopamine hit from putting some socks in the drawer, right? It depends. Right? It kind of depends on my frame and my mindset when I step into it, right? Sometimes reward is better, right? Sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do this thing. I'm going to do boom, 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 boom. And then I get to read for 10 minutes, which for me is like a big reward, right? I get to just sit and relax and read. Or maybe I'll scroll on social media or whatever it is that the reward is. But other times it's literally the achievement of a thing, anything, right? It might be that I walk into the kitchen and I wipe the bench down. Okay, maybe I go and like put on a load of washing. You know,
Oh, I love putting on loads of washing.
maybe
They
I
make me
go
feel so
outside
dopamine-like.
and I feed the chickens. Right? Like,
Yeah. Sorry, Ashton's
That
face
would
when
be
I
fun.
said putting
Sorry,
on
the
a load of
laundry
washing
thing, I'm
was
just like,
good.
right? Like some of
Hey,
them,
I
some of them
saw-
are fun and
I
some
saw
of them aren't. You know,
Yeah. But I could feed chickens. That sounds like a blast. I love
right,
chickens.
right. And there's something about like finishing something or just getting something done. And really what this is about
Yeah.
is whether it's dopamine or not, when we say we're going to do a thing and then we do it, we get a sense of personal satisfaction and self-trust. And that's a really
true.
important part of sticking to goals and feeling the motivation to continue with something. Saying you'll do a thing and then doing the thing makes you trust yourself. And it's much easier to stay connected to longer term goals when you trust yourself and your own ability and your own level of competency around actually achieving the things that you say you're going to achieve. And this is one of the biggest problems about setting really big ass motherfucking goals, right? And dreaming really, really, really big, right? Because they're hard to achieve. And if you
Yeah.
keep pushing yourself towards something that you're not actually feeling any momentum towards, you're not actually trusting that you can do it, you will stop doing it. That's human nature, right? Why the hell would we continue to bash our head against a brick wall? It's pointless. We don't do it. We go find something else to do that does satisfy our ability to achieve things and get dopamine and do all of those things, you know? So again, it comes back to that idea of breaking things down into much, much, much smaller achievable bites, because not only are you getting or not getting the dopamine effect or whatever, right? You're building your own trust. You're building trust in yourself. You're building your sense of competence. And that's what confidence comes from, right? And that's where motivation comes from. When you believe that you can do a thing, you'll keep doing it.
Yeah, that's true, because my initial goal, so like my initial goal for the year was, well, one of them was to take the TAP class, but it was just one class because that's achievable. I'm not going to say I'm going to take a 6-week, TAP course, because that does not, I don't know what's going to happen. But now that I've taken one burlesque class, I want to take more. So now my new goal is I want to take 2 more. So now I'm starting to plan, okay, I know it's on Sunday, at this time, I'm going to make the plan to at least take 2 more. And then maybe after those 2, we'll see what happens. But I'm not going to commit to more than 2 more because I don't know what is going to happen,
Yeah.
But I can commit to 2 more. I know I can do that. So when I achieve that, maybe I'll the next time do a month, who knows?
Yeah. I think the other thing people get wrong with goal setting as well, and I am so guilty of this, is packing all of your major goals in at
Yes.
the same time. So going, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to do better on my work, I'm going to answer emails properly, I'm going to do this, and you do all of those things together, and then you can do like half of one, and you're like, well, everything's ruined, I won't do any now. So like actually just picking, you can't work on everything at once. So like my goal over the last 6 months was actually getting my sleep a whole heap better because I was having some sleep issues. And so my goal, rather than trying to do working better, starting an exercise program and sleeping better all at the same time, got too fucky. And I was like, I can't do that. That's too much. I was like, just focus on one of them. And sleep was it. Now my sleep's better. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll start on exercise now. Work's obviously third on the list. Just putting that out there. Works down the other end of the track. But you know, you can't do all of your big goals. You can't be your wonderful human self that you dream of being all in one go. It doesn't work like that.
We radically overestimate humans, radically overestimate what they can do in like a week or a month, and completely underestimate what they can do in a year.
I've heard this before, and
it's true
hilarious.
and real and happens.
Yeah.
It's because we're like, oh, we get excited and we go, we're going to do all of these things. We're going to become this amazing person, and we're going to do it in a week. And you're not. It's just not.
No.
It's not the way anything works, really. You know, and so like it's really interesting to take that into the planning process around goals and decide what projects you're going to work on over what period of time. So for instance, if you're going to set some goals over a 3-month time period, right, you want to think about where you want to be in 3 months' time and then start kind of like, what's it called? Reverse engineering what the next 3 months are going to look like. And it can be really helpful to break it down into 1, 2, or 3 projects, max 3 projects that you want to be working on over a 3-month time period. And those 3 projects might be all related to sleep. It might be that your goal is to sleep better, and then you break that sleep better goal down into 3 projects. And it might be, I'm going to work on my nutrition so that affects my sleep. I'm going to like work on my consumption of like caffeine or whatever. And maybe I'm also going to change my sleep time, my sleep pattern or something like that. And when you break it down into those 3 things, it becomes much easier to build a plan of how you're going to do that over the next 3 months.
I also think it's really nice to make your goals a little bit silly from time to time. Like we can be so focused on it. My new goal at the moment, and I'm so excited to share it with you all, it's so stupid, is so I have figured out just recently that in the bottom of my hair I have a curl pattern. And I don't know about anybody else's TikTok feed at the moment, but curly girl hair routines are everywhere. And I was like, just for a month, you know what, just for a month, I'm going to see if I can get my natural curl pattern. Today, this is my natural curl pattern team. I haven't curled it. I haven't done anything to it. Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it
love
stunning?
it.
Thank
That's
you
not
so
silly,
much.
by the way.
And so for the no, but what it has done for me, great dopamine hits. It's a sense of achievement. It's personal grooming, which always makes everybody feel really good about themselves. So I'm getting all of these really important goal setting, building up my my sense of self-trust and actioning something, because it's just a little thing for me. And what it's done is it informs all of my other sense of, oh, well, now I've got a harder goal I need to set, but I stuck at it with my curly girl routine and I'm really happy about that. So
It's actually not the goal.
Curly girls
Like
fixing the world.
goals, the thing that your goal is,
it's
doesn't
not the goal.
matter. Like stop, this is not for you, Tess. This is for everybody in the whole fucking world. Don't judge yourself
100%.
for the goals that you set, because the actual goal itself doesn't mean that much. It's personal. It's for you. Great. Pick whatever you want. The real benefit of goal setting and then implementing is exactly what you just talked about, Tess. And it's trusting yourself and becoming the person.
Self-worth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And having
And having
fabulous
fabulous
looking
hair.
Seriously, look at that. Look at it. I look like an Irish goddess. Look at that shit. It's amazing.
That was gorgeous. Because
Thank
I
you.
tried the curly girl thing too, so I also have like curly girl tendencies. My
Yeah,
hair's very
yeah.
strange, but I gave up after one time.
I get it.
So, which leads me into my next thing that I'm going to ask. What would you say to the people that will inevitably say, well, I never set goals. And if I never set goals when I don't meet them, then I'm never disappointed.
Oh no, I'm with those people because I've been one of those people.
I'm not with those
Okay,
people.
what would you say?
I have 100%. I think for those people, I would ask them to assess, or come on, big brain, where are we going there? I'd ask them to assess what the fear is in there, because if for me saying, well, if I don't plan and if I don't put in goals, or if I don't achieve them, it's not my fault. No one can tell me I'm shit. No one can tell me I've done. I think it's assessing what the core fear underneath that is, and actually dealing with that a little bit first, or asking for some help or some coaching. Because Dee, you and I have done lots of work on that sort of thing, like when we're in the booth and going, it's not actually about the thing that you want to do. It's got nothing to do with that. What are you scared of? Yeah. What are you afraid of in the middle of here? And it's usually like, oh, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. It's I statements, I sentences. And if that's what you've got going on, it's not that you don't like planning. It's that you're afraid of something.
And often that thing is unmet expectations, right? So people are often afraid that, like, if you set a goal and you don't achieve it, that it's going to be bad, right? Because there's shame attached to not achieving the goal, which means you're actually more invested in a very specific outcome than you are in becoming a different person that's capable of different things, right? For me, goal setting is about who do I want to be, what kind of life do I want to live, right? And how that looks and what like how I get there and what the actual end result is, I have to be flexible with. We've already talked about this today, right? That idea of having flexibility in how you execute and where you go and what you do. Being rigidly attached to a very specific outcome is 100% an avoidance mechanism.
That's what I do. Did.
It's 100% an avoidance mechanism. It's an avoidance of change. It's an avoidance, and it hides. It's sneaky as fuck, right? Because you're like, well, I'm setting a goal. I'm going to be someone different, but I'm going to be very rigidly attached to only one very specific way that could happen, and which immediately discounts that ever really being a possibility. So it's very easy to put down.
Yeah. And it's fear of retribution, whether it's from you or from someone else. And I put that in quotation marks. Yeah.
So are expectations in general, do you think that they are a bad thing? Or do you think some expectations are...
Well...
Because say, oh, just throw the expectations out the window so, you could be flexible. But
not the same.
I think split the diff on that. Have expectations, but expect that your expectations might change. You have to allow them to change. Yeah, I think it's I love split the diff. It's one of my favourite phrases. It's so good because people always do something. You're like, no, just split the diff back the other way. It's so great. You have to split the difference between those two things. Not planning and rigid control over your goal makes no sense. But somewhere in the middle of that, control over your goal, but also planning to get there and moving them if they need it.
Personally, I think it's about your relationship with expectations, right? Expectations, we're all going to have them. It's like judgments. We all judge things. We have to. It's a part of our assessment process of being alive in the world. We're all going to have expectations. I have expectations of you guys. I have expectations that you'll show up when you say you're going to show up for our podcast recording episode.
Unless we're 5 minutes late.
I also have expectations that you'll let me know, that we will let each other know if we're running late. Those expectations are important. Yeah. And they're a part of setting boundaries, and they're a part of how you frame your world and your interactions with other people. And it's really important to have the ability to assess those expectations and make adjustments to them if they're not serving you. But it depends on what your fucking outcomes are. If what you want to do is grow, that's a really important thing. If what you want to do is stay exactly the same, then have rigid expectations and don't allow them to change, and nothing in your world will change. Right? That's why it's a safety mechanism, to have very, very rigid expectations and have be like overly invested or completely invested in one very specific outcome. Yeah. I'm sure you guys have all had... Oh, sorry, Tess, you want to go?
No. I was just going to say, if you're one of those people that are feeling like that, growing is scary. It's okay. It's okay. Yes. It's taken me years to move past, even just listening to this conversation, I'm having those realizations of actually I do these things a lot better than I used to, which is really cool and really exciting. But if you're at the beginning of that, it's fucking terrifying. Take your time. You're okay. Growing is scary.
And I think it's really important to acknowledge that growing, there will always be challenges when you change, and goal setting is about making changes, right? If you're setting goals to stay exactly the same, it's still goal setting, right? You're still setting goals, and that's fine. You'll fucking hit those goals. Well done, right?
Nailed it.
But Oh, well,
Well, that was easy.
but if,
This goal setting
for
shit's
the
real
most part,
easy.
if you're setting goals, it's because you want to change something, right? You have some ideas about where you want to go, and that's going to be challenging. And
Yeah.
one of the very, very first parts of being able to make change is really acknowledging and allowing that challenge to be there and letting yourself feel the feelings that show up as a result of that. You're going to have feelings. When you change your shit, feelings are going to come up, right? And being willing to feel all of those feelings and let them exist and have the experience of the fear and the upset or the excitement or whatever feelings show up, feel them completely, let them exist. It's what will allow you to continue to like kind of keep moving through the challenge, you know? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel, if we're talking about
Yeah.
feelings, goal setting in general makes me feel very excited. Like it's like the possibility of like these things happening makes me feel very excited. So I wanted to ask, if we're gonna wrap up soon, I wanted to ask each one of you what a goal you have for 2025 is. And it could be silly, it could be intense. I just wanted to
Yeah.
know what maybe share one goal, whether it's work related or personal. What's one goal you all have?
I actually have 3 on the run.
Nice.
Or 3, share 3. That's
Jordan,
fine.
don't laugh at me. I saw that. One of them, honestly, is that curly girl routine. Like 100%. It's really important to me. Because it is. So that's what I'm doing. And it's a fun thing for me to do. My second one is, it's so funny that we're talking about all of this. I have just joined a program with Maggie Sterling called Vibe Club, and it's about understanding your relationship with food.
Nice.
And it is it's really exciting because it's like it's not like calories and this and that sort of stuff. It's going, when do you find yourself eating when you feel like you shouldn't be? And it's like boredom between meals because you're like just like rummaging and it's just interesting. So it's a whole process of like finding out about how you behave around things, which I find really exciting. And then my other goal is to redo my demo. Because I have been helping other people do theirs. And so that's twofold. One is to reproduce my own and record my own pieces and all of those sorts of things. But the other part of it is to let people know that that's something that I'm doing and just putting that portion on my website. So just a chunk of my work and just highlighting that. That's what I'm up to.
I love that. Those are great goals.
Thank you.
What
And if it
about
means my
you?
hair looks like this every day, I'm fine with it.
If my hair looked like that every day, like I would be like, yes, thank you very much. Goal achieved. You've done it, girl.
Winning. This is the first day I've kind of got it right a couple of days in a row, and I'm like, oh, she cooking.
Jordan, what are your goal? What's one goal you have?
Yeah, this is interesting, because this makes me uncomfortable because people talk about like 5-year goals, 10-year goals, 1-year goals. I'm like, I've got a goal for
Okay.
today, and if I achieve it, I'm gonna be stoked with it, and then I'll probably have another goal tomorrow. Like, I'm quite short-sighted like that, and sometimes I think about whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. And I think, especially from a business sense, I don't think it serves me to not have goals that are longer than a week. But if I'm moving in if I feel, it's almost an instinctual thing, if I feel like I'm moving in the right direction in kind of 3 or 4 different areas of my life that matter, then it makes it easier to feel like I
Those
don't
are
need to
your goals,
set
by the
something
way.
specific.
Like what you just
But
said.
it's also this is also a magician
Yeah.
tactic of me.
then.
This is me being a magician as well, because if I don't set a goal, I don't have to achieve anything. It's like making agreements. Like in the few circles that I kind of chat with different people, we talk about like making agreements and whether we keep them or not. And I don't make agreements because then I don't. And I don't think I consciously don't make agreements. I just subconsciously don't make agreements. And then I'm like, well, I didn't break any agreements, so I don't need to contribute in this part of the,
Interesting.
of the work or whatever. So there's also kind of another side to that, like what's holding you back from making agreements? What agreements did you choose not to make? And this is probably partly tied into the goals and long-term goals as well. So there's a very long-winded way of saying I don't
was
have
awesome.
anything specific.
I love that though.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about it. I'm
Yeah.
uncomfortable being asked
But
about it, and I
I
like it.
think there's something really beautiful to look at there, because people who hyper focus on their 5-year plan are not present and are not existing inside the world. They're like, it's hyper anxiety, it's all the
true.
perfectionism, those sorts of things. For you, Jordan, I think a beautiful thing to focus on there is that you're very present, because you're just one day at a time.
I'd agree.
So, and lots of people really struggle with that. So I definitely put that in your pocket as like a superpower. And then when you're ready to like add extra things to it, you can do that because you know how to be present and you know how to do one day at a time. I think that's gorgeous.
I think the key is like fork in the road situation. So if you've got a 1 year goal and you're not sure which direction to go, then the 1 year goal helps you make a decision about left or right. So, and not having that can. So I remember someone said to me once, like, it doesn't matter which road you take as long as you get there in the end, or whatever. Like it's, I don't know, it was way better worded than that, but yeah, if you reach a destination regardless of the road you take, then the outcome was you achieved something. But whatever that may be, whether it's goal specific to a certain job thing or life thing or whatever, but
I think it's really interesting using like a goal setting as a decision making tool. Like I could go here or here. I don't know which one to choose. And then I can look back at, okay, what are my goals? Okay, this is my goal. So if I go this way, it's going to help me achieve my goal better. I think that's kind of cool. That's very, I like that idea.
I feel like that's the purpose of them. It's like when you goal setting is really tied to values, right? Very
Yes.
tied to values.
Yeah.
So Jordan, this could be something that you could explore as a different way of coming into goal setting. Think about your values. What's important to you? What kind of life do you want to lead? What kind of person do you want to be? Right? And you're already really doing that, because that's when you say like it's quite instinctive, that's probably your values talking. And if you wanted to define it more clearly, you could just sit down and spend some time writing down your values and in your relationship spaces, in your work spaces, in your social spaces, whatever it is, right? What's important to me? And that will inform your decision-making processes. That's the fork in the road kind of like thing. You get to that fork and you're like, all right, well, this way I've got these opportunities. This way I've got these opportunities. Which one lines up with my values more? And that can be a really nice way to make decisions. I think I really do think goals are just like a map for living out your values.
Yeah.
I love when
I
Jordan
love when
talks.
Jordan talks too. That was great. Do more of that, Jordan.
I know.
Jordan talks.
That was so good. That
wonderful.
went.
All right, we've made Jordan uncomfortable enough, though. Like, let's
That was
move on.
so good, Jordan. So good.
It
Now,
was
good.
do we have
That's
time
good.
to do sounds I can't make, or have we like?
I think we always have time for that. But also, you two haven't
Oh,
done
goals.
what goals you're doing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'll go
Yeah.
really quickly. I am running goals all the time. Like it's a part of how I function now. I started doing this about 5 years ago, and I sort of haven't stopped. It's become part of how I think about like my life and my space and what I'm doing and stuff. So I'm not much of it's coming up to the end of the year, I'll set my 2025 goals anymore, because they just kind of roll on, But some of the things that I'd like to have happen in the next 12 months-ish, like from here, is I want to, and this scares the shit out of me, and I've been saying this for like 4 years and haven't done it yet, and that's have a character demo, create a character demo. Probably video
Cool.
games, I think, but maybe animation as well. So I think it's like I've been saying it's time for ages and keep like getting scared and backing away. I'd really like to do it in the next 12 months. It'd be really good. So that's one goal. But I have goals in the fitness space. Like I want to be climbing a particular grade, and I need to do some things, get my body into shape to be able to do that. I have goals around my relationships. I have travel goals that I want to achieve next year. Like there's just lots of things. But from a work perspective, probably the demo is the biggest, scariest thing that I'm going to do. Yeah. What about you, Ashton?
Yes. Hold on. Deanna, it is way past time for you to get a character demo. Honestly, and I'm not saying that to like shame you, but like I just think that you would be so incredible in
I
that
agree.
area. You know what I mean? You have so much expertise and so much experience in like different things, and you've got on camera like experience, and like I could just see you like doing mocap and PCAP all over the place. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So good.
You just
anyways.
added things to my goals list,
That's
Ashton. Thanks.
Sorry. But
You
I
added
just-
mocap.
No,
She wasn't
I've been
even thinking about mocap.
I have
and
been
now
thinking
she's
about
like,
mocap, but I live in
Have you?
WA, and like there's just no mocap here. It's really hard
it's
to
hard.
access, but
Yeah.
like that they're just constraints, right? And that's the thing about setting goals. You got to identify the
just
constraints
constraints,
and
yeah.
then work out if you can alleviate them. You know?
Yes. And the thing is it's getting bigger and bigger, and planes are a thing. And if you are the right person for the job,
Yeah.
come out and spend a couple of weeks with me
Okay.
in LA. We'll figure it out.
Done. That's one of my goals for next year. Go spend some time in LA with Ashton and work out my mocap stuff.
Yay. Actually, that's one of my goals, is to like spend some time outside the United States next year. To travel
Nice.
outside the United States would be a wonderful goal, because I have not in quite a while. Like I have not been outside the United States in a little bit. So that was one of my goals. I would like to travel outside of the United States. I would like to continue with a dance class into next year. That would be very fun for me. And I think one of my third goals is I've gotten very into loving dubbing for live action lately. I've done it a few
So
times, and it
cool.
is so fun. I really love it. And so I feel like a goal for me next year is I would like to do at least 2 more live action dubbing jobs next year. I think that would be
Amazing.
really fun. So those are
That's
my goals.
awesome.
I
Yeah.
think those are great.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, so good, so good, so good. Hey, can I do a quick little plug? Given that we've been talking about this whole goal setting kind of thing, I have a workshop that I run that is basically a goal setting and planning workshop for voiceover talent, right? So if you're a voiceover artist and you are not quite sure how to set up your goals and stuff and set your planning up for like a 12-month time period, I'll put the link in the show notes or something. You can reach out and have a chat with me. It's a workshop that you can download and do yourself in your own time, right? So
Wow, that's cool.
I think I've
Have
done
you?
it.
I've run it 3 times now.
Pretty
I ran
sure.
it at the start of 2020. No, twice. I ran it at the start of 2024, and then I ran it again just recently live. And so it's all packaged up as something that you can do in your own time now, and it's really good. I get amazing feedback every time I
Yeah.
run it.
Yeah, I don't
I would
think I
like
did
that.
the actual workshop, but I think I did a
Yes.
one-on-one with you that had lots of elements of that in it, and I can concur with that. It's because it's lots of the stuff that we
Yeah.
talked about today. It's what's the big boy goal? I don't really have a big boy goal. That was weird. That just happened.
My big boy goal.
That's my big boy goal. I saw, yeah. So my big goal, and then and how to reverse engineer it, because I think that's the bit that people don't understand so much, and that's the tricky
It's
bit.
really
So,
practical.
yeah,
That you
that's-
might need
yeah.
more. Yeah, that you might
really
need more like
practical.
step by step, or like more guidance. And
Yeah.
And I've chucked
yeah.
a bunch of
That's
stuff.
pretty cool. I might actually do that.
Oh, it's really good. I've chucked a bunch of stuff on the front that's
Yeah.
very VO specific as well, that is very much about working
Cool.
out where you sit and where your constraints are, and then how to alleviate those constraints. And then you go into the planning kind of process where you make a plan for 3 months or 6 months or 12 months or whatever time frame you want. And really what it's about is teaching people, or teaching you the fundamentals of the process, so that you can then go off and keep applying
Yeah.
that as many times as you like for the rest of your life. So it's really cool. Anyway, I just
Nice.
wanted to mention that. Thank
Yeah.
you for letting me letting me drop that in. That's awesome.
Welcome.
Very nice.
So, sounds we can't make. Jordan, do you have a sound
Yeah,
for us to
stomachs,
not
do
be
it.
able to make?
Yeah. I quite like this one. It's a girl in a closet. And then Nancy Cartwright tries to be the girl in
I'm
the
a
closet.
girl in a closet.
You are.
So,
Same.
Yeah.
So are you,
I'm really in a
Ashton.
closet right now.
So many girls
Yep.
in closets.
Can you see
Yes.
this all right?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Let's
Okay.
play it, eh? So,
Nancy, are you almost finished? Holy.
okay, so
Ah.
she basically says, "Hey Nancy, almost finished," in the closet, and then she tries to replicate it, and I played it too late. So let's go back a bit and play it again.
Nancy, are we almost finished? Hey, Nancy, are you almost finished?
Oh, so she opens the
I
door.
thought she did pretty
and
well
so,
with this.
okay, I see.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
like, how do you sound like you're far away when
Or
you're not
behind
far
a
away?
door when
And
you're
then
not.
transition
Or behind, yeah.
into sounding like you're not behind something.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, we can just
Can I
kinda
hear it one
copy
more
her.
time, please, Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
You want to hear
please.
the whole thing? Might as well. Doesn't take long.
Nancy, are we almost finished? Hey, Nancy, are we almost finished?
I love Nancy Cartwright, by the way.
So
She's
do I.
fantastic.
She's so cool.
Okay.
So I just like the idea of
Oh,
trying
right.
to talk
Yeah.
with your mouth shut.
I think
Like it's sort of
yeah.
like ventriloquist kind of stuff, but yeah, I thought
Did
she
she
did.
make
She
the C sound
enunciated
in
quite well,
Nancy?
considering she didn't open her mouth.
Because
She's American. She
Hey,
doesn't say the
Nancy.
C's.
Yeah, probably.
well, but with her mouth shut.
But I don't know. I don't remember if it was.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you have to let air out for
Yeah,
it
yeah.
to be a sibilant
for your
sound.
fricative sound. Fricative.
Syllabus,
Fricative?
yeah.
No, Nancy.
S is
Oh.
fricative.
It's not a
And
sibilant.
plosives would be hard, I
It's
would
still-
imagine.
No, you can have sibilant qualities
Oh,
on
nice, that's
fricative
nice.
sounds.
So a sibilant fricative.
I love being so nerdy. yeah, exactly. But it's a fricative because it's friction
Yeah.
with airflow. Yeah.
Ashton looks ready.
No, I'm just thinking about how I want to hold my mouth. I'm not ready. I mean, I could go, but I'm like trying to like think about how tight I want to hold my lips.
Yeah, I get
It's
that.
so hard to do the s. This is why I know this is a pain in the ass, but could we listen to it one more time? I want to listen.
Yeah,
I want
hear
to
us one
watch
more
and
time.
listen Nancy and see if she makes the fricative sound in Nancy.
Okay, here we go. It's good. You're testing my how efficient
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
be with sharing screens.
Yes.
Yes.
Ready?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Holy cow!
Okay, that was the wrong spot.
Hey, Nancy, are we
Oh my God.
almost finished?
And she
How
says it
does
fast.
she get a sound
Yeah.
with her mouth shut?
I have an idea, but I'm probably wrong.
Mm.
I won't know how to do it. But so when you go to say the S, she might be using her tongue to break up to make like a scrape sound, like a. Oh, fuck, that's so hard. Like moving her tongue to like. Do you understand what I mean, or am I just like not? Yeah, that. Like that.
Well, that was pretty good.
That's what I meant.
Just open my mouth and let the last bit just come flying out.
But that's what it is. Like when you
Yeah.
open the door, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, that was really good. They were even got this on the Nancy.
That was really cool.
But I feel like I have to fill up my whole mouth with air to get enough like room to make all the sounds.
Yeah.
I feel I have to like puff out my cheeks, you know.
Nancy's doing that. She's like letting lots of air be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense because if you don't, then you don't have enough resonating space and you won't get any of the
I'm doing a lot of lifting.
specificity of the sound. Yeah, I can imagine.
Like I'm-
yeah. I feel like there should be quite a bit of space between your jaw as well.
That's
like between your
exactly
back
what I'm
teeth.
doing. I'm like
yeah.
dropping my jaw down heaps and
Yeah.
heaps and really lifting my palate up as hard as I can.
And I think if you can drop
Take
your
it back.
larynx a
Larynx
little
is
bit too,
dropping.
you could probably get a little bit more. Yeah.
I can't get this back.
I think you're pushing too hard when you get to the S. I think relax off a little.
Mm.
I don't know. It's hard.
And it might also be an accent thing. I'm
Mm.
not sure, but it might be.
I can do it all without this sound really easily. Finished yet? I'm doing this really high pitch thing too. I don't know where that's coming from.
What's your do you have any nasal airflow while you're doing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's that's where the air's coming from. Because like, where else is it going to
Yeah,
come
I know,
from?
but I was wondering if it was like completely blocked or if there was any like release. I don't know why it would or wouldn't help, but
I can't make any noise if I block that off completely. There's no noise at all.
oh, I just mean rather than block, I mean like held air or like releasing of air.
Finished yet? I keep going into this sound, which is really weird.
I think that's what she
Yeah,
was
right.
doing. So that
It's because
that,
she's
Oh,
high
I'm
pitched. Yeah,
fucking
maybe that's what
copying
it was.
her. Well, I think I can quite
All
squarely
right.
say I can't make that sound.
I haven't even
Tessa.
tried. I'm so busy thinking about
Come
it.
on,
I
give it
can't. I tried to like clog everything.
You're very tight around here.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how to do it without like.
Mhm.
Oh, she's letting a little bit
Yeah.
of air go, tiny little bit of air
I
across
think
the top
she
of the
has
lips.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
pretty good.
If you, don't focus on what you're saying. If you focus on a 5 to 10% airflow release across the flat portion of your lip as you're doing it, I reckon that gets way easier.
Also, it lets a little bit more sound
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Mhm. How are you holding
But I just
air
haven't opened
and
up.
talking at the same time?
I don't know.
Um,
Yeah, I am letting a little bit out.
it's
Yeah.
because I'm using airflow. So once I've got it filled, I'm allowing it to continue.
I kept saying ready. Are we finished yet? I don't fucking know.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
I
good.
don't
I don't know. I think we can
Yeah.
semi do it. Jordan,
Halvesies?
you're up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Talk with your mouth
but
shut.
kind of open.
5%.
Yeah. Oh, I hate doing this stuff. But you guys are like, oh yeah, this is my wheelhouse, and then Jordan goes,
have a
he's
go.
like, oh, shit. That's good. I'm uncomfortable
love
again.
it.
I like it.
Yes.
This is where we grow. Okay. Wow,
it's
that's
tricky,
so
eh?
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to let some air out. Wow, I just like
Yeah.
hummed instead.
Ooh, that's a fun thought.
Because
Because how is it
never
the
at all.
difference
Wow.
between humming and not humming? If you remove the idea of humming, it becomes talking with. Oh. That was interesting for me.
The wheels. The
Clearly
wheels.
not
I saw the
interesting for
wheels
anybody.
turning. Yeah,
That's good.
it's
That's
it's
good.
it's
I did not expect that. You know when you're like, okay, I think something might happen here, and
Yeah.
then nothing happens. Well, that's what happens to me
Aw.
anyway, most of the time.
I think
Yeah. Sometimes I get it right.
that's cool.
Not all. Not
Are you
very
going to have
often.
another
I
go,
think
or is that it?
the
Are you
more-
done?
I have a nerdy thing to add in there if it's helpful.
Fuck,
I think the
I'm
more
done, mate.
subglottic pressure you have, the better for that.
Like more air coming up from your lungs,
Yeah.
more support for
yeah. Yeah, more tension because then. Yeah. There was something about that made it really helpful. Helpful.
Well,
for
you're having to
sustaining.
push a lot of air up into your mouth to create the space, and then it's really hard to only let a little bit of air out if there's only a tiny little bit of air coming in. You want to have lots of air available so that you can dictate the outflow, I guess.
If you just,
This is just amazing doing airflow, and it's really hard.
I think I.
But I
Yeah,
understood everything
yeah.
you said.
Can you understand everything
You
that
do.
I'm
You sound
saying?
like you're
So
underwater
I have
or
to
behind a door.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to take first an earphone. I have to take
Too
something
fast.
that's hard to keep my face in the
That was
mouth.
too fast.
Fuck
Yeah.
it. Yep. You have to keep thinking about how to keep the
Keep the air
consistency
going,
up,
right?
and it is. It's yeah. Mm.
When you can't.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, you can't like take it in how you normally would because your mouth is
Right.
closed.
Right.
All right. Well, that was
was
cool.
cool.
Thanks,
I like that
Jordan.
one.
That was a really, really good one.
I feel
Good
like
job.
80% happy about that
was
one.
ace. All
Come
right,
here, Eddie.
we're going to wrap it up
Yeah,
there.
that was a
I reckon
cool one.
that's probably it. Does anyone have any final parting bits of wisdom they'd like to share around goal setting? Go.
Yes,
Go.
I do. I read this on the back of the truck, and I was waiting for an opportunity to tell you this because I thought about it all the way home. And the quote was, if the plan doesn't work, change the plan, but not the outcome. And I was like, oh, yeah, that got me all.
Love
got
it.
me
That's
the
good.
goosebumps.
I love
that.
when I rode
That's a
home.
beautiful way of
Yeah.
summing up everything that
Yeah.
we said in this this I was going to say session, but it's not. It's an episode. That's the word. That took a while to show up. Woo! Anyway, let's wrap up there. So, as always, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of the Good Talkers podcast. It's been super, super fun. I hope you've gotten lots and lots of really useful, practical tips around, like, not just goal setting as a thing, but also the mindset that kind of really supports it, and the ways that you can set things up and the different ways that you can approach it, right? I think we all really brought lots of different bits of information in then, which I think is really important. I think when you're goal setting, it's really personal and it's got to work for you. Otherwise, what's the freaking point, you know? So hopefully you got lots out of that. Feel free to reach out to us and share your feedback from the episode. We'd love to hear what your goals are and sort of like whether or not you've gotten stuff out of this and it's been functional for you. So we really, really love hearing from you. You can reach us at thegoodtalkerspodcast@gmail.com or any of us via our socials. There's a Good Talkers Podcast social presence, but also you can reach out to any of us anytime you like as well. We love hearing from you. So please get involved in the whole process. Tessa, Ashton, Jordan, thank you so much for being here today. You are all wise, beautiful humans, and I just always, always love hearing your input on things. It's just such a joy to be able to hang out with you guys. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Deanna.
Love you guys. All right,
All good.
we'll see you next time
Yeah.
on the Good Talkers podcast. Take care.
Peace out.
Bye.
Peace.
What was this? What was this? Why did you do this?
Oh.
Oh, you did this because all I saw was this outcome.